Hey everyone, this is Mark. The following is a conversation I had with Jordan Dearsley, the CEO of VAPI. In the conversation, we discussed how AI voice agents are forever going to change the world, how we as agency owners are currently sitting on a goldmine opportunity, how Jordan Dearsley early on in his career had to start VAPI, the challenges he underwent, even eating at a soup kitchen at one point. It's a very exciting discussion. You don't want to miss it. And lastly, of course, I included the community requested questions, the technical ideas that you guys were sharing were all answered as well. You don't want to miss this discussion. So without further ado, let's dive right in.
Started.
Cool. Let's do it. We're recording? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was wondering what inspired you to pivot from I think it was super powered into VAPI. Like how did that happen? Just walk me through that.
So a bit of context. Me and my co-founder at the time, we were studying software engineering at the University of Waterloo, and we decided, to start a startup. That startup was, I think, a lecture platform or something. And so we're working on a couple of different ideas around that time as well, like a friendship app and a bunch of random shit. And then we suddenly got into YC and dropped out of school and then moved to San Francisco. And then everything just got very crazy for a little while. But eventually, after pivoting around and not knowing what the fuck we were going to do with Demo Day like a few months away, we were like, okay, yeah, let's do this like calendar app idea thing, which is like very simple, a button in the menu bar to join meetings before meetings come up. Now that concept is like baked into every calendar app, but at the time before remote work kicked off, like we were, I believe, the first to do it, if not
Wow.
the first private company to do it. I think there were some open source projects doing it. And so, yeah, it sounds minor, but a lot of people really liked it. And so, yeah, I worked on that. And then when ChatGPT came out, like 2 or 3 years later, we decided to pivot to make it an AI note taker. And then I think we spent maybe 6 months, a year on that as well.
Wow.
And then we grew it to profitability. It was I don't know, successful by I think most people's standards, but we were 9 to 5. We weren't really like putting our heart into the project, and I think we just realized we wanted something more technically challenging to work on. So we kind of just, instead of growing the business, we just like left it and left it running, put auto reply on the inbox, and we're like, hey, we can't fix this. Click this button to get a refund. And yeah, we just left it. Um,
Wow.
and we moved to San Francisco at that time. We were back and forth a bit, but we moved to San Francisco like full time. At that time, it was July of last year, and we decided to look for ideas. We had no idea what we were going to work on. It was quite a depressing time, frankly. We even like
Mm.
went to like soup kitchens and stuff. We were like, oh, maybe poverty is a problem we'll solve or something. I don't know. We were really like we were
Oh,
place at the time. Uh, and uh, and then my co-founder was away for the weekend, doing, I don't know, it was like some social event, and I had just come out of a breakup with the move, whatever, a bunch of stuff, and I needed something to talk to. And so I remember I was at the Shack 15 building in San Francisco. It was like a hackathon or something. Couldn't find an idea for the hackathon. Then I walked outside and I was like, damn, like I need someone to talk to. I'll try like Pi. Pi was like
yeah, I love
yeah,
pie.
a coaching app. Um, and I picked up my phone and like I put it in my pocket, and then the call stopped and I was like, what the fuck? No, I want to like go on walks and like talk with this thing. And then I kind of figured something out, like disable the screen, put it in my pocket. But then like it started interrupting me while I was speaking, and I was like, oh, this like fucking sucks. Like I have to wait until it gives its fucking spiel every time. I can't just like interrupt it. And so that kind of started me working on this problem where I went home that night and I just coded something up to do that over the phone. Um,
Wow.
and so then what I would do is I would go on walks for literally like 2 hours every morning, and then spend the rest of the day like working on it and making it better, making it respond faster, making it more natural. Then I would go on my walks, and I literally, yeah, spend 2 hours talking to this AI. At the
Wow.
time,
On walks. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, because I don't know, I'd like to walk and talk, so that's kind of where it started. And I think there was something there. Like
Hmm.
now, that concept is just like ChatGPT voice, but at the time, that wasn't really a thing. And
Right.
so our take on it was like, oh, it's therapy. We're going to build like the AI therapist for everyone. This is the killer app, the killer idea. And we had one guy. We actually got dinner with him last night. He's a friend of ours, Mo. He called the thing like 12 times a day, and we were like, "This is product market fit. We have traction. This is it." Uh, Unfortunately, it was not. It was one guy who was just very enthusiastic about talking this thing. But I think what we realized like throughout was like in order to solve this therapy problem, we also need to solve this like conversational system problem. So either we solve both or we just be the best at solving one. And so we just decided, okay, we're going to try to be the best at this conversation problem, and I guess we'll expose it as like an API or something. Um, and that's when we started work on VAPI. At the start, we were like, this is like a developer only thing, no UI, API only. This is not for little no coders. And that was the wrong call at the time,
That's
I think.
that's so mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we were a little hardcore at the time, in the developer side of things. But I think as like time went on, and there was like so much interest from people who were like not developers, who were like kind of hybrid, developers, not developers. We invested a lot into the product, and now that's like everyone's favorite stuff. So I think it goes to show like you really have no idea what people want until you start getting it out into the world and showing it to them. But yeah, that's how it started, and then things were quite slow for a while. I mean, we had a bet that models across the whole stack were going to get cheaper, faster, and smarter in some sort of timeline, and that's exactly what seemed to happen over the next 8 months, and that really enabled the voice wave to kick off. Like we knew it was coming, we just needed to find a way to position ourselves in that wave ahead of time, and so that's kind of what we've done, and now it's kind of starting to pay off with the our positioning
Right.
right now. Now like
Right.
4 months into the hype wave.
Are you? No, you're absolutely right. I mean, you guys have been. How long was this period of time? Like two years? You were getting this off the ground, or 3 years?
Since July, so about a year.
About it. Wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible. In 1 year, how far you
it's
guys have come?
very quick. I think it was just like good planning for
Okay.
the future. I think that bet, cheaper, faster, smarter on this timeline. Well, if they all get cheaper, faster, smarter, like eventually they can all respond in under a second. So
Right.
then you could talk to them. So then you could XYZ, but it's still going to be hard to use and kind of put those things together and like, oh, in 8 months this is going to be a big deal, you
Right.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so interesting what you're saying, because I mean, we know this chat, you've watched the demos of this ChatGPT 4 model, the way that it talks. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's just freaked out. It's
Oh my
unbelievable.
God, I fucking
Oh,
know.
what
That
do you
was
think about that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so here, I'm just gonna quickly grab a charger.
no
That was
worries.
our vision for the company, actually, was to
Okay.
be the audio to audio model company. Um,
Hmm.
we were training models. We were training like not fusion, what do you call it? Multimodal, like transcription combined with like large language models. And I think we just came to realize when 4.0 dropped, like, oh shit, no, that's not us that's gonna do it. It's gonna be OpenAI or like some other
Right.
company who actually knows what they're doing in terms of
Uh,
models. And
right.
so then we decided, okay, let's pivot our focus. Like, what are we good at here? We're good at like infrastructure, and we're good at like building good developer experiences and just good like product experiences. And so we just decided to double down on that. And now more of our focus is on like the features, the tooling, the conversation design kind of stuff around the models. And as the models get better, as the audio to audio stuff starts to come out, um, hopefully we'll have designed it in a way that we can just plug it in and it'll like empower us rather than us competing with the model builders.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That makes sense. No, that's really good. Wow. Yeah. Just a few technical questions. This is very interesting. A lot of people are wondering what model stack. One guy, Aram, in my group, he's wondering what model stack you guys are using for your demo on the main
Oh,
page.
I think you can just like inspect element and like check. It's
Okay.
I think at the moment 3.5 turbo cluster, Degram, and then we switched between Cartesia and Hannah from Cartesia and Jennifer from
Okay.
11 Labs. Uh,
Really?
depending on which one is doing better that day.
Okay. It's interesting. Sometimes they do fluctuate. Like I made one with Zuri from 11 Labs, And I noticed something really interesting. Since it has a bit of an accent, people are more focused on the accent than the fact that it's an AI, and so everyone thinks it's human. Like I've been shocked. Yeah,
Accents are like a great way of like obscuring the humanness.
sure.
There's also a little trick that we found where you can set up a Twilio number and then like call it on the phone, like and enable recording, or you do actually just use a VAPI number for this too, and then just like talk to it for like 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and then take that recording either from Twilio or like the stereo recording from VAPI, and then split the user's channel and use that to clone with 11 Labs, because what you'll get is something that sounds like someone talking on the phone, because
That is brilliant.
it works
Oh my
really
gosh.
well. It works really well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I
So
gotta pay you for that golden nugget. That's so no, thank you.
no, yeah, and use the professional clones with 11 Labs with
Okay.
that, and it works well. PlayHT also, I've heard, works well with that technique too. Yeah.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah. Somebody was wondering if there are plans for you to connect SIP trunks to the hosted
It's
plan. Is that
currently in the platform. If you just go to the
okay?
docs calls SIP, I think it's in there. But
Okay.
yeah, we run our own SIP switch, or I think SBC.
Another technical question. Just had to get these done. Steve Taylor asks, are you going to produce a sandbox where you could test responses, using text?
Yeah, yeah. That's on the roadmap for sure. Um,
Okay.
the next thing for us right now is like the workflows, like the conversation design stuff. But then once that's out, then people will need to test those quite heavily. And so we're going to build in the text testing. Yeah.
Oh, that's so. I think people think I work for you because they ask me all these questions.
Oh,
I'm just
really?
like the VAPI ambassador. I go on and on about your platform. I've tried Synthflow, I've tried Blend, all of them. They all pale in comparison to what you guys have done. The
That's awesome.
only one that gets close, I think, is retail AI, but no
Yeah.
one's really talking about that. They have good latency.
Yeah.
And that's a question that actually segues one to a question I have for you. I know
Mhm.
you were saying in a video like latency is a currency to you
Yeah,
guys, and
for sure.
and I'm just curious what challenges you face in reducing latency with voice AI.
Spent like 8 months trying to reduce latency. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really hard. Well, the whole stack, like the individual pieces of the models, they need to run fast individually. So the transcription models need to be run on-prem. The large language models, you need to distribute requests amongst them because some are faster, some are slower at different times. And then text to speech, you just need to make sure that you have like streaming in and out.
Right.
But then the problem that arises once you like hook the whole thing up is that you need to leave some time after someone finishes their statement to know they're done their statement. You know what I mean? Like if
Mm,
I'm saying a
sure.
statement like this, you know not to speak, right? If I'm saying a statement like this, then you know I'm done,
Right.
right? And
Exactly.
so that distinction is like really hard. And the longer you decide to wait to not
Okay.
interrupt people, the longer that adds to a sentence when it's actually done, right? And
Exactly.
so it's a really, really weird balance. Like we have some ways of improving that, obviously, but that is really the clinch point of reducing latency. Like we could bring it down. We could bring it down further, but then it
Mm.
will start interrupt people while they're speaking.
And it seems sometimes too, I don't know if you notice this, but like you'll talk to the AI model. Some days the latency seems really low, and other days I'm talking to it and it seems a little bit higher. Maybe it's a length of the prompt that I'm inputting. Am I
So
crazy?
many variables. Most likely, it's almost always on the model. So if you track the latencies over time of like different, like for example, like GPT-4o deployments,
Yeah.
during the day, those deployments have more traffic. And
Oh,
so you're competing to be the first in that queue, right?
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, yeah. And so
That's crazy, man.
you'll see like the hours throughout the day like this, and you'll see over the weekends like it dips like really low, and during the week like comes back up. And so there is a bit of a timing thing. Likely, the thing I was talking about, like distributing requests amongst
Sure.
different models and stuff, is how we get around that. But still, like the average of that diversification still gets higher over the weekdays and the weekends.
Wow. So
Yeah.
interesting. It's another question a lot of people are wondering is if you guys are servicing businesses directly rather than just, the developers. Do you have any clients yourself, maybe hospitals or just private clients
Yeah,
that you're working with?
totally. I
Yeah,
can't say exactly who they are other than the ones that are on our landing page.
sure.
But yes, yeah, definitely. There are large enterprise customers who have needs that are like data security, on-prem deployments, like those sorts of things. And in those cases, it's like, yeah, we need to work directly with you to hook all this up.
That's interesting. So something I'm wondering is as a small business owner, kind of selling these ourselves, and I'm charging a certain fee and building these out on your platform. Would it be better for the business if they knew about you guys just to go directly to you, submit a
No,
request?
like
Okay.
the thing is, like when I'm talking about business, I'm talking about a business that has like a full-fledged engineering team.
Wow.
Like kind of like the grown-up version of the indie developer, right?
Yeah.
Whereas IE or VAPI, like it doesn't make sense for us to like go out and like sell a doctor's office or sell like a Toys R Us or something like that. It
Right.
just takes too much of our time to try to like implement, for every single one of them. Like we're so focused on
Wow.
the platform and the
Yeah.
platform for developers and engineering teams that it just doesn't make sense for us. Yeah.
So interesting because yeah, that's a great answer because I'm wondering like what do you think is going to be the future of this voice AI? Is it going to be in every business in the next couple of years? How do you think it's going to affect the market? Like that's something I just can't stop thinking about.
Yeah, I think so. I just the timeline is unclear.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of like the call center industry alone is like $400 billion. There's a lot of like enterprise, like slow moving complexity to that.
Right.
Um, and like a lot of the interfaces that like agents and stuff are like poking on, there's no APIs for those interfaces.
Hmm.
Like it's that far behind. And so I think that transition will be slower than we expect, like maybe like a 10-year time horizon to actually getting it like fully rolled out across the board. But I think my hunch is that in the next couple of years, you're going to see small business pick it up much faster.
Right.
It's more a game of like how fast you guys can move, getting it like distributed. Um, so I mean that's been a great tool for us actually because we are unable to serve your customers because we can't actually like scale that operation because then we have to scale our headcount,
Wow.
right? But
Right.
if
Right.
there's a network of people who are out there just like deploying and that network itself is growing and they're all independent, then that means then that can scale. And then they can be served.
Wow.
So long as
That's
that community is scaling, then there is a possibility of serving small business fast.
Wow, that's really good. Yeah, and that's why you guys are so engaged with the community. I've noticed on LinkedIn and Twitter. It's really cool how you do that with team up with YouTubers. I'm curious. It's so perplexing to me exactly what you're saying. You talk to a huge company, multi-billion-dollar company, and what do you get on the phone with? Like a lifeless robot, right? Or like Delta Airlines. No offense. I'm just saying. And you get on, and you're like, what? I have to wait on hold for an hour, really? When
Yeah.
software like you guys exist, it just seems so archaic and below them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. And it's, you're competing with a lot of like old ways of doing things.
Sure.
I mean, this kind of happened with transcription services in the call center market.
Mhm.
So for a long time, like the call center market was very scared of using AI tools and that kind of thing. And now all of a sudden, over the period of like 1 to 2 years, that attitude just like shifted. And all of a sudden, call centers were very, very open to using transcription tools to observe like their call center agents and blah, blah, blah. And now like transcription's big use case is like call centers. Um, and so, similarly, I think something will happen with like the actual AI like agents in businesses as well, where there's just going to be a sudden like shift, not sudden, maybe over the course of a year or 2 years, sudden shift in attitude, and then after that
Sure.
attitude shift, people will, and large enterprise will be like, oh fuck, like Toys R Us has voice AI, we need voice, and then like then the dominoes start to
Right.
fall. Yeah,
Right. And this is the worst voice AI is ever going to be, right? Like how
yeah.
perplexing is that?
Oh,
So,
it's
y-
very true. It's very true. Yeah.
yeah. And this is interesting too. Like I'm curious, without revealing too much, the certain businesses that you're servicing, can you share any success stories where VAPI has improved, I don't know, the efficiency for your
Um,
clients in a
Trying to
unique way?
think if there's any
Yeah.
that we can that I can talk about specifically. I
Yeah.
mean, no, there's none that comes. I would hate to say the
Don't
wrong,
worry.
and then yeah.
No, no,
So
no, don't worry. Don't worry.
yeah,
That's fine. No, no, no. Yeah. Well, I have one final question for you. You've
yeah,
been generous with your time, and this is really interesting. You've already given so many golden nuggets that just from the development side, like,
that's
whoa,
great.
okay, that's really smart. But yeah, could you just explain like you and your co-founder's roadmap for VAPI over the next year as much as you can reveal? That would be really cool to hear.
Honestly, dude, year, that's a long time.
Okay.
We
Okay.
got a
Wow.
plan. We got a plan for the next like maybe 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah, like we're very much at this scale, like not thinking that far ahead because we want to be reactive to
Mm,
the changes. But
okay.
the things that we're working on right now that we're waiting to launch are definitely our new like workflows a product where companies want guarantees that given a prompt, it's not going to like go off. It's not going to give medical advice. It's not going to
Mm,
ask this question before that question. It's always going to make sure that you have a topping on your salad, right? Before you check
right.
out. Like those sort of things are important as we approach
Mm,
larger companies. And so yeah, we're investing in like hybrid systems that make it so you can design a conversation. It'll still be
mm.
guaranteed to follow that flow, but it'll still feel like a human. You're talking to a human at the end of the day. Because
Wait,
yeah,
flows in what you guys are designing in the VAPI app. Is that what those will be for in
exactly.
part?
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
alpha like oh poke around in the UI.
oh,
Yeah, yeah. But it's gonna be like this is a very very slimmed down version of what's going to be released. Like essentially we're
yeah.
trying to like roll out like a programming language almost like for these conversations.
Oh, that's so exciting. Oh my
Yeah, it's
goodness. Do
gonna
you
be
think
wicked. Wicked.
is Flows going to come out soon? I mean, is that,
It's gonna be
yeah.
oh man with a week or two ago we said 3 weeks ago and then we did some like user interviews and they were like well I can't do this I can't do that I was like oh fuck okay
Yeah.
we gotta really think this through
Okay.
because I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be like you know the default on the platform
Mm,
so yeah I don't know I would give it another 3 or 4 weeks maybe
okay.
3 weeks yeah I think
Okay. Yeah. Don't be like OpenAI where they said like a month and now we're still all waiting. No,
there's a reason for that yeah
there's a,
it's
yeah.
yeah. Those audio models are tricky to scale and get deployed.
Mm,
It's a very complicated
yeah,
interface. Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm
yeah.
sure it is. Hey, Jordan, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate
Cool.
all these answers. Very, very fascinating. And your story is really inspiring to just a young and up and coming business owner and entrepreneur. It's really cool how you jumped out of college, you went for what you believed, and look at you now. Like this is really exciting, your impact in the
Yeah,
world.
man.
So,
I think that's the biggest thing. You just gotta, you're not gonna make the right decision. Like, my first decisions were all wrong. But you just have to make
wow,
a decision and do something and then keep going. Yeah.
awesome. That's great.
Cool.
Thank you.